Hello everybody, my name is Davide Garofalo and I am founder and CEO of Xplored. We are an innovation and game development studio based in Rapallo, that is a quiet and small town on the seacoast in the northwest of Italy. We founded the company in 2008 with a specific goal, that was to bring multidisciplinary expertise from other industries into the video game development, and at the same time leverage video game features and benefits into other industries. So we worked with and for different brands, from food brands to sporting goods companies, from toy manufacturers to video game publishers, of course. And I have to admit, we have learned from every single project, from every single partner, because all of them had different approach, different size and culture, goals and markets. And so that helped to create the DNA of our company. So we grew up in this process consistently, from 3 people up to 30 on staff, developing simple flash games and web games at the beginning, and then up to complex mobile and PC apps. Always releasing on time, at the end up to more than 100 games today. From concept to release, Xplored manages the full SKU productions, software, firmware, hardware, both on proprietary IPs as well as in work for hire. The way of working of our company and our team is really peculiar and has been described as the selling goal, the selling point that we have, really our benefits when someone has to choose Xplored instead of other partners. Since 2014, indeed, we have been focusing on something new. So from pure digital production to phygital games, where software and hardware are seamlessly integrated to offer new and innovative gaming experience. So not innovation for innovation's sake, but experience that leverage the tech innovation, not a tech push approach. What I personally don't like are startups that are trying to leverage a technology that has born before any thought about user experience. They try to attach glue on top of the technology, the game, and the experience. Our approach is the opposite. So we start from the user experience. That is the goal. We want to achieve a new and enhanced and innovative gaming experience, entertaining experience. And then we try to find the right technology to make it possible. And the technology has to be invisible to the users, and ideally not affecting the final price. When we found this approach, this solution, the technological one for the user experience that we search, we developed a prototype to prove to ourselves, first of all, both the user experience and the tech. Then the technology is always patented to protect and strengthen the asset, and then the pitch is done to publishers and investors. So how this project, TORI, born? It was summer 2017, and Xplored was meeting publishers and partners, both at GDC in San Francisco and at Gamescom in Cologne. And it was a specific momentum where we had Ranimals, so our first Toys to Life fully developed in Xplored, were a collectible line of wheeled creatures toys, could be moved physically by kids on a board, and while moving them, the kids, as players, were controlling the virtual representation of creatures in an action racing mobile game. So that was on the shelf already in soft launch, thanks to publisher and to distributor, showing our ability from a concept to bring a complex project like a hardware and software one as for animals up to the shelf. And we were going to present 2 new concepts. One was Teburu, and Teburu will be then described by the media as the future of board games. We will describe it better later. and the other one was Globes. Globes was a sort of line of collectible smart toy controllers that were used as a physical interface to interact with the world of a console episodic action-adventure game. And as soon as Bandai Namco, as many other customers, saw Globes, they wanted to cooperate with us. But in the meanwhile, there was a French startup, ISKN, with their new technology, combining physical toys and mobile apps, proposing to Bandai Namco a partnership. And they were doing a joint venture between the two companies. So the spark born in Bandai Namco directors, understanding the potential of taking the technology from ISKN and using Xplored as the perfect developer partner to conceive and produce the games to put on the platform. So what story? What we're talking about? Let's see the official trailer video so you better understand.
So close that I can't touch. I just wanna touch. Do it with my touch, touch, touch. So close that I can't touch. I just wanna touch. Do it with my touch, touch. Touch, 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 touch. Touch, 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 touch. Touch, touch, touch. Touch, touch, touch.
So the challenge that we had to take, as you saw in the video, was quite tough. So we were asked to develop quality mobile games for kids audience on a new platform with an innovative control system for a demanding publisher partner as Bandai Namco. No way to say no for us. So we started. And we did it in 3 steps. Step 1 was starting from scratch, to research and develop user experience that were interesting, engaging, doing prototypes. So first investigating on the hardware and on the firmware through the SDK, developing the prototypes based on new design concepts and iterating. And then prototype and test the UX of the design that we conceived in order to validate it. Once that with Bandai we decided what to do, what to choose as game design, we started another stage. So 6 months for research and development, then other 6 months to start the development and the production of one flagship game and the pre-production of some mini games to look forward to future potential DLC and new games. And this second stage have been done in parallel with other developers doing the same thing, so developing other games, because it was a platform where many games were planned by various developers. But at the end, step 3 came. So Bandai Namco saw our job, the other partner's job, and decided to give everything to Xplored. So they came to us asking, would you like to do all the games and all the apps, all the contents for the platform? Of course, we said yes. So let's see what our partners can say more in detail about these 3 steps to give you a different point of view of the team about the way we work.
Hi, I'm Dario Pelella, co-founder and CTO of Xplored. I've been developing games since '93, and since the beginning we do basically everything. Engine, tools, and the final products. And along with the company, we also learn to create hardware, firmware, and software in a holistic way of development. Usually, our customer give us an eye concept, and then we are free to create and invent the rest. But here we had a challenge. TORI. Basically, we received hardware and firmware prototypes and an under-development SDK with no instructions. And then we had to study everything in order to understand what we can do with this thing. We studied all aspects. We measured everything, the physical aspects, the response timing, the optical feedbacks. And then we used our 3D printers to evaluate the ergonomy of other objects. And then we were enlightened. We understood the one-to-one magic effects of this product. Let me explain. As long as the user stares at the screen, he could basically confuse the reality and the virtuality of the activities that he did, and then start to have fun. It was amazing. In 6 months, we had to create a sort of manual of instructions about what the developer could do with this platform. And it was a very interesting job. And we were successful in taking on this challenge. Yes, because Bandai started to give us one game, then one more, then basically all the games they planned to release on this platform. And at the end of this process, our research and development department was asked also to design the whole parental and companion app ecosystem. Basically, we managed all the aspects, and it was so great.
Hi, I'm Riccardo Landi, head of the game design department at Xplored. And talking about TORI, at the beginning of the project we received the hardware, and the hardware was already prototype, and the R&D department gave us the dictionary on how to play with it. So imagine it was like, imagine you're in an empty room and somebody throws a ball at you and tells you, have fun with it. And that's what basically what we did at the beginning of the project with TORI. We had to look at it and think what kind of experience can we create with this hardware? What are the possible game experiences that are interesting, compelling, entertaining for the players? And we didn't have to create just one game, but we had to create an entire catalog of games for this new platform. And I don't mean just different game mechanics, but different game experience, varied game experience. So different settings, different characters, different storytelling, and different pacing. So we could have a fast-paced action game set in space, or a more brainy puzzle-solving game set in an old library, or again a dexterity game set in the kitchen of an Italian restaurant. And as I said, we had the hardware, we had the toys, and that meant that all the interaction and possible action for the player were set. So we started experimenting with them. We started prototype different game mechanics. We stressed different interaction, different control schemes, different way to play with it, basically. And we kept the good ones and discarded the ones that didn't work. And here we learn our first lesson, that it could sound obvious now, but it wasn't. You cannot force an old game mechanic on a new interface. So you cannot make a platform game if you can hold in mid-air the main character. So you will never fall down. And that's also when we realized the true potential of TORI, and it was it's now called mirror play. The fact that what you do over the board is reproduced one-to-one in real time on screen. So it's a very intuitive way to interact with games. If you want to point in one direction, you just point the direction. If you want to cast a spell, you just do the gesture and the spell is cast. So you don't need complex button sequence or combos, or you don't have to wire an action to a button and stuff like that, like the usual gamepad. And once we realized that, that's when we started finding the fun in it. On top of that, the target audience for Tori are kids. So everybody knows that making games for kids, it's harder. Teaching a new interface, a new way to play, a new hardware to kids, it's even harder. Because they don't read, and they want to be entertained from the very first few seconds. They want to have fun right away. So we had to spend a lot of effort and time on the onboarding process, the tutorials, and how to teach kids how to play with this new toy without making it boring, basically. And this is the second lesson we learned, because you can try as hard as you want, as you can, but you will never be able to think as a kid. You can try to simulate it in your head and try to anticipate what they will do, but when you see the actual kids playing with the hardware, everything changed. And for this reason, a very important moment was the focus group playtest that was held in New York by Bandai Namco, because there is when we saw actual kids, real kids, playing with toy, and it was priceless. It was very, very valuable, because by looking at them and seeing what they actually wanted to do with toy, what they thought it was more natural to interact with Tori, we improved our understanding of the platform, and it helped a lot improving also the game experience. So as a game designer, I'm very glad that we had the opportunity to take part in this very peculiar project.
Hi, I'm Mark. I'm the executive producer here at Xplored, establishing, monitoring and tweaking our ways of working based on the challenge at hand. When the TORI opportunity came along, we had multiple ongoing projects, each at different stage of development and each using different production approaches. A couple of work-for-hire projects, and 2 internally developed IPs, Globes and our flagship Teburu. Studio planning, therefore, involved multi-project management for 30-odd people plus external suppliers. We ran an initial concepting and prototyping phase in which multiple ideas were evaluated, and once concepts had been selected, the challenge that TORI posed was to deliver 5 apps in 10 months, juggling strict milestone deliveries, business and marketing asset needs, testing marketing positioning and fit, as well as complying with guidelines from COPPA and GDPR, given that the product was for kids, and all this while simultaneously developing the hardware and software systems powering the games. We ended up running 2 parallel game development streams, as well as a long, thin effort for the companion app. Cross-pollinating between apps for common features and functionality, we ran 1-week sprints in pre-production for maximum ability to learn and pivot, and then 2-week sprints in production for optimum team focus, but retaining the ability to respond to any changing requirements. For project control, we implemented an agile process with full publisher transparency, weekly bills, even though they were outside our contractual obligations. The project hierarchy consisted of a project owner and 3 department leads and an otherwise flat team, and periodic reviews were conducted with the Xplored Steering Committee, the interdiscipline team that runs the company. Internal tests with the target audience were also conducted above and beyond Bandai Namco's own efforts. Eventually, some overtime was needed to complete the project, but this was balanced with a rotation system for team holidays. We finally rolled out the games in September 2019, on time, on budget, for iOS and Android, including tablets, in English, French, Italian, German and Spanish, and after some timely R&R for the team, we proceeded with the additional DLC and update content.
So as Mark said, after a long journey we did it. Bandai Namco managed the soft launch, planning the global release on Christmas 2020 season, but then the COVID came and everything changed, so now Bandai Namco is currently adjusting the plans. What is interesting and was very training for us was the fact that at the same time we were developing our own flagship project, Teburu, the future of board games. So before telling something more about this experience, let me show you the trailer video for our project. Teburu is a brand new gaming system Xplored is offering with CMON as publisher partner. CMON is a growing tabletop game manufacturer and prolific Kickstarter actor. Teburu is a console for the next generation of board games. Based on 5 worldwide deposited patents, it allows players to focus on physical and social experience of board games, while the system does all the hard work, from tracking miniatures thanks to sensor electronics to tutorials and bookkeeping, from hidden events and secret information to contextual mathematics of dice rolling, especially when there are many, to roll in complex situations with special rules applied. From playable tutorial to avoid long rulebook to read, to remote multiplayer online for the first time in the board game industry. Last but not least, storytelling is a unique experience with Teburu, thanks to the animated and interactive cutscenes with meaningful choices conditioning the player's campaign. That's Teburu, one system, infinite games. The console that we are going to launch on Kickstarter soon, with CMON as publisher and Zombicide Evolution as the first game in bundle. So as you can see, 2 revolutionary innovations were under development under Xplored roof in the same exact time frame, TORI and Teburu. One in War for Hire, the other as an internal IP. One based on external hardware and firmware, the other totally developed in-house. Conceive and develop new IPs to match the TORI platform, while on the other side, conceive a new game-enhanced experience for the existing IP, that is Zombicide by CMON. We were asking to ourselves why kids should play TORI, how to engage them. And at the same time, on the other project, the goal of Teburu was to satisfy existing need of the established conservative audience of board game players. We had to create content value to justify a forced high price of the TORI hardware, and on Teburu hardware we wanted to find the most effective technology industrial solution to keep the price affordable and in line with current board games with no technology inside. Hard to believe, I must admit that at the end we did it, and we did it twice. So, as a conclusion, I would say that we really had a great and highly valuable experience, and we learned a lot thanks to this project and thanks to Bandai Namco. The experience highlighted and confirmed the importance of iteration and communication, as well as the ability of having a mid-long-term plan, but responding to change quickly and effectively. The key skill in innovation indeed is adapting to change. So think forward, fail fast, change quickly, and go straight. So now TORI has been released, Teburu is coming on Kickstarter soon, and what's the next big thing Xplored is working on? So Back to the Future Globes is now patented worldwide, having a new light, and going to come back to life. Thanks for watching.